Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, CesarRespino. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, CesarRespino, and today I have a special guest. He has a passion and is an expert in time management and productivity, which has earned him the nickname the Time Lord. He have worked extensively throughout Australia and Southeast Asia, delivering dynamic training programs to major corporations, small businesses, and individuals. His knowledge and skill comes from over 35 years of experience as a trainer, speaker, and facilitator in self-management, motivation, and communication. It is my pleasure to introduce you, Les Watson. Hey, Les, how are you?
I am fantastic. It's great to be here, Cesar. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, definitely. I'm super excited, super stoked to have you here. And so, why don't we start by telling us a little bit about your background? Where are you originally from, and how was your upbringing?
Where was I originally from? I was born in a small state in Australia called Tasmania, and my mum and dad were publicans. They owned a pub, hotel, and people go, "Oh, that would have been fabulous growing up in a hotel." You say that as an adult, but as a kid, no, not at all. I went into health and fitness, and from health and fitness, I then went into personal development, and I left Tasmania, came across to the mainland Australia and got involved with an organisation called Insight Seminars. I did the first one, and I'm not sure if anyone tuning in can relate to this, that the person that invited me to do this personal development seminar, they actually said, "You need to do this." And I went, "Really? I'm going along all right. Life is okay. Why would I need to do a seminar?" No, you really need to do this. And on the back end, I could recognise that I would have been the nickname Drifting Dennis. That life had no purpose, life didn't have any goals. I was just drifting, and that personal development seminar changed my life. That was a 6-day. I went on and did all of the Australian ones. I went over to the States and did a 40-day seminar, and I now teach productivity, time management, communication, and personal development around the world.
Gotcha. Wow, that's amazing, and definitely I want to dive into a lot of those things. Obviously, you said that you were kind of drifting through life. In terms of before discovering and going to the seminar, like what was it that you're doing, or you always have the idea of, when I grow up, I want to be this kind of person, or I want to be in this job, or I want to do that. What was that for you?
I had nothing like that, nothing whatsoever. I was, when I came out of school, I was in the pub game. I was a porter carrying bags. I was a waiter. I got a qualification as a waiter, a head waiter. And then I left that, went and worked with my dad on his oyster farm. And he said, "You need to leave now." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you've got too many brains to be an oyster farmer." Again, drifting along. He said, "You can go into town, you're fit, and there's a job going in town with a fitness place. Why don't you do that?" And that's what led me to being around people that wanted to better themselves. And I didn't know up until that point. So I did health and fitness. And in the health and fitness game, there was a particular speaker that talked about man is 3 things: physical, mental, and spiritual. And I was in the fitness game, and I went, I've got the physical down. I understand that. That's not a problem. And intellectual or mental. I could hold a conversation. I could do crosswords. Like that wasn't an issue, but I had no idea about the spiritual, and I went on a journey to find out all about that. So that was a little sideline, but really, Cesar, it was nothing about I want to be a certain thing in my life. It wasn't. I was drifting, Dennis. It was a true thing of just going along and allowing life to do things to me rather than setting a course, achieving goals, and making stuff happen.
Yeah, got you. um Oftentimes, in this one thing that I have here on my notes about you is oftentimes we are faced with so many different things and so many different decisions in life, right? And one of the biggest challenges that we have is that we try to do everything on our own, right? And so tell me about that, because obviously for you, one of the biggest things that you kind of had to overcome is trying to do everything on your own, and instead of asking for help, right? And asking for somebody to an extent guide you, right? As you say here, take the help. Your independence is killing you, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
It was very true for me very early on in my career, or should I say, in my business path, that I was trying to do it on my own. And I'm not sure if anyone tuning in can relate to it. Trying to do it on your own. It's like, where's the help? Or not even knowing that I could ask for help, or stuck in such a way that I would never get out of my own road to ask somebody else to go, oh, can you help me? Um, Even down to nowadays, I've got mentors in my life, I've got coaches in my life, but back then I had no idea that that was even available. So when I say your independence is killing you, I'm talking about trying to do it on your own, trying to do life on your own. I've never met a self-made millionaire ever. I've come across a lot of people that have made a lot of money and they didn't do it on their own. They did it with other people. So based on that, the invitation for people is to look at, are you stuck in trying to do it on your own? From time to time, there'll be people come along, and the example I use is I'll say, no, 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 thank you for the offer. I'm fine. No, no, I really appreciate that you would offer to do that for me, but I'm fine. No, 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 I can do it myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing the help away, even though it's being offered. So are you supportable?
Mm,
Are there people in your life actually offering support to you and you're pushing it away, called nobody can do it as good as me? I'm the kingpin. I want all the kudos. I want it all for me. And the opposite side of that is, have you ever gotten out of your own road and asked for help?
right.
Can you actually say, I am stuck? I need help in this situation. So based on that, the invitation for people that are watching or listening is to be aware that there are people in your world that want to help you, and go and ask them, ask for a mentor, ask for some help, ask for a cup of coffee. I've got this situation, Caesar, can you give me 5 minutes and so I can bounce it off you? So it's a thing that I've got as a model, the easy model.
Mm,
First one is external action, EA, so action. But the key to it is the support. Don't try, the S for support. Don't try and do it on your own. Don't try and
mm,
do it on your own. The last part is internal focus, which is the why. Is it yes or no? And a lot of the stuff that you talk about in your podcast is a lot about the mental side of things. And I
right.
talk a lot about that. So are you being supportable? Are you asking for support? There are times when people get stuck and they go, oh, I could never ask for support, or oh, I asked for support once and someone knocked me back, so I've never done that again. Or I've got shame around it. Caesar, I should be able to do it myself.
Hmm.
Therefore, I'm shame, like I've got shame around it. Why can't I do it myself? I'm an adult. I should be able to do it myself. No, no, no. We're all in this together. And the more we can get that there are people in the world who want to help you, the easier life's going to be.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point, and I think that happens more often than none. The idea of I'm asking for help, and sometimes because we ask for help and then we get knocked out and nobody gives us that support or that help, then we say we don't want to do it. We're not going to go and ask for help ever again. I think that the thing that I challenge people here to is two things. Number one, we want to be able to look at who are we asking for help. Sometimes we are asking, I think, our immediate family or people that we feel like are close to us, and sometimes those are the people that are gonna be the least people to support you and or may not even like your idea to an extent. And then the second thing that we gotta also be mindful about is, just because somebody said no the first time, or just because we probably got knocked out a couple of different times and nobody wanted to give us the any type of help, does not mean that we should give up, right? It's like in sales, right? When you're calling for some leads, call calling, right? The idea is people get discouraged on calling because they get a no, right? Except again, what about you see it from a different perspective? I always talk about, let's look at things from a different lens, a different point of view. For every no, you're getting closer to that yes, right? So for every person that says no, I'm not going to help you, okay, that's fine. That person may not want to help you or whatever their case may be, except there's somebody else, and you got to keep going through that. And so I think those are the things where people get discouraged in asking for help.
And you can overcome anything. So think about that. Sales analogy is a great one. You've got to know, and do you crumble underneath the no, or do you pick the phone up, or do you knock on the door and go for another one? And you get a second one and you go, do I crumble under that or do I go again? And sales is like that. Sales is, there's got to be a yes around here somewhere. There's got to be. So you can overcome anything. It's like, what is the goal? And I always talk to people, because I've got a coaching business as well. I've got productivity and time management in corporate, small business and individuals, but then I've got coaching. And I talk to people about, what do you want? Do you have a clear picture of what it is that you're trying to achieve? And that's like, you don't need to overcome anything if you're not heading towards anything.
Right.
So what is it that you're heading towards? Get clear on that, because the clearer you are, the more you're likely to achieve it. By looking at it and saying, that's exactly what I want. I want it by then. And people talk about SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time frame. So SMART is really good because you know what you're heading towards and by when. So therefore, there are going to be obstacles that come up, and therefore overcoming them is what we're in the space of. How can you not necessarily have to do it on your own, but keep going? How do you take a no and keep going? Because an example I use is, I got a no and, oh, everybody hates me, nobody loves me, I think I'll go and eat worms. Well, no, that's just one no. Go again, ask again, and ask again and again and again and again, because there'll be somebody that will give you a yes. Colonel Sanders, classic example, KFC, whether you like it or not, he, as a business model, got so many knockbacks that he eventually got a yes, and it became a worldwide sensation. And it's not about the product, it's about what he did in overcoming the no's to head towards a yes. And I'm not saying that you need to be a KFC. I'm saying, what is it you want and how can you go towards it, knowing that it's not all a trajectory from start to finish. There are ups and downs, hills and dales. It's a matter of, how do you manage the pieces in between?
Yeah. Talk about, getting a clear picture and knowing exactly what is it that you're shooting for, right? I a couple of years back, I kind of changed my language too, and I believe language is important, and at least for me, it is. And so what I did is, like, I'm not going to look at goals anymore. I'm actually going to see it as targets. To me, a target is something that I'm shooting, that I'm aiming at, right? And so when I look at talking about the target or that goal that you're trying to achieve, and getting that clear picture, in your perspective, what seems to be more critical? Because I've seen it in both ways, where people they focus so much on, well, I know I want to be there to an extent, they have, it's not so clear, right? Except they start doing little things here and there to get to where they think they believe they want to get to, except it's not so clear. My question to you is, do you feel like it's better to have a clear understanding on what exactly it is that you want? For instance, I want to have $1 million net in my bank account in 2 years, right? Or I want to be able to fly to Europe for a month in about a year or so. That's a very specific target or goal you have in mind. And so, do we focus on that first and then figure out the how to's? Because I think a lot of people get hung up on the idea of, well, yeah, I know where I want to go, except I don't know how to do it, and then they get lost on that the how to's, right? Does that make sense?
Now, it does, and you're very, very true in what you're saying. I'm talking about get clarity on what it is you want. So, is it a relationship? Is it health? Is it fitness? What is that? And get very specific on what that is. And I call it intention and method. It used to be intention versus method, but it's intention. What do you want? And how are you going to do that? Because not everybody knows the how to. And sometimes the how to shows up on the path towards what it is that you are going towards. It's like, I didn't even realize that was going to show up. I didn't even realize I could do that. I didn't even know that that was available to me. But I took the first step and this showed up. So I really encourage people to have the big picture. I want to be able to run a marathon. That's the big picture. Then what can I do today to head towards that goal? What can I do tomorrow? And it's really, tomorrow is tomorrow. I'm talking about today. So I go plan for tomorrow. That's great. But what can you do today? I have a current thing, and it's a tiny one. All right. So I've got a group of people. We're doing a 30-day challenge, and I've set them that they do something every day for 30 days, heading towards a goal that they have. And I've got two goals. One is I'm writing a second book. So this is the first book, Get Back an Hour in every day. And from Get Back an Hour every day, this next book, I've committed to writing every day for 15 minutes. Just every day for 15 minutes. So writing, editing, also the book is progressing. It's every day for 30 days so that that habit is built over time. And the other one happens to be on fitness of actually just exercising, getting out of the house and exercising for 15 minutes per day, every day for 30 days. And you go, why would you just do 15 minutes? Because it's a habit. And it's in that habit that I'm doing on a daily basis that I can then get to the end of the 30 days and go, well, that wasn't so bad. Let's keep going. But most people go, oh, no, I'm not even going to start, or I have to do an hour a day. I'm going, break it down, create the habit and see what happens. Because if you do something today, you can tick it off and go, okay, I did that. I can do it again tomorrow and again and again and again.
Yeah. Talk about, creating that habit, and talk about the fact that you said, I have this goal of writing for 15 minutes, right? We'll go back to this. It's not just a habit; it's also a discipline, right? My notes here, obviously, if you want to have anything that you want in life, you said we have to have leadership and discipline, right? Which I definitely agree. And so, help us define, or in your terms, how would you define discipline, right? Because obviously, some people are traveling, or they get home tired from work, the kids, the wife, the husband, there's all these external factors, right? That sometimes we forget about. Well, what is really discipline? Well, if I do it today and I skip tomorrow or the next couple of days, I'm still disciplined to an extent. So tell me about the leadership and discipline to get everything you want.
Yeah. So leadership and discipline, let's talk leadership first. The only person that's going to lead your life is you. Cesar, can you run my life? No. Hey, Joe, can you run my life? No. Mary, can you run my life? No, it's not going to happen like that. You need to run your own life. So you be the leader. Oh, I'm not a leader. Yes, you are. Everyone wants to be a leader, even if it's just leading the dog. So be the leader. Stand up and go, I am going to purposefully create what it is that I want in my life. I'm going to take action on that. I'm going to get support. I'm going to have a positive attitude towards what it is that I want to create. So that's leadership. That's not abdicating your leadership onto somebody else and having my life is in their hands. That's a thing of, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to me. Now, I didn't say that. Someone else said that a long time ago, and it's a great one. It's like, stop pushing it onto other people. Stop playing the blame game. Stop being the victim. Actually stand up and go, no, from this day forward, on hearing what Les is saying, I'm going to take accountability and responsibility for my life, and be the leader in my life. So that's number one, be the leader. And the second part is the discipline of what are you doing every single day? Some people say to me, I'm just not disciplined. I go, well, number one, did you get up this morning? Yes. Well, there's a discipline in that. Did you do your teeth? Yes. Well, there's a discipline in that. Are you eating a couple of meals a day? Yes. Well, there's a discipline in that. So there is a discipline. You just got to take it from the areas that are around you and go, from those areas, how can I put it into these areas? And not every part of your life needs to be focused on today. What we're talking about is what's the goal or goals, and how do you break it down into something that's tangible that you can do today that's tickable. It's like, give it a tick, like put a highlight through it, actually do rah-rah called Yahoo, we did that. And if you do that today, then there's a real big possibility you can do it tomorrow. See, that you know that there are people that fall off the horse. They fall off the wagon. Oh, I've fallen off the wagon, I might as well throw it in. It's like, well, really? Just because you fell off doesn't mean you've got to walk. You can just get back on the horse. You fall off the wagon, get back on the wagon. If you miss a day, stop being so hard on yourself. It's not serving you to beat yourself around the head based on missing one day. And I've got a group of people, and I've got a men's group, and I've got my coaching, and I say, just be in it for you. Not what your dad said, not what your mum said, not what your mentor said. What are the things that you want to create for yourself? And just chunk it down to small things. What are the small things I can do today? And therefore, if you do it today, you can do it again tomorrow. It's not a matter of you're not disciplined. You are disciplined. Have a look at it. It's like, okay, so, and I give the example of 15 minutes. Oh, it's not very much. No, you're right. It's not very much. But in that discipline, I reiterate that I'm a disciplined person. My wife does a really good one. You'll love this. She goes, okay, I'm going to put my runners on, my sand shoes, and I'm just going to commit to 2 minutes. I'm just going to commit to 2 minutes. And it's in that commitment for 2 minutes that she, 2 minutes later, goes, oh, this isn't so bad. I'll keep going. So what happens is she is able to continue and create something after the 2 minutes that she said, oh, no, I'm just going to commit to 2 minutes. And we can all commit to 2 minutes. That's like me today. Before I got here, I went for my 15-minute walk, and I said, I'll just do 7.5 minutes out and 7.5 minutes back, and end up being 25 minutes. Why? Because it was so enjoyable. So what can you do on a daily basis? How can you build fun into things with your discipline? What rewards can you give you around your discipline? That doesn't have to be, oh, it's so hard. What's the lightness of it?
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And it reminds me, I talked to what your wife does is pretty awesome. It reminds me of something that I've talked about in the past too, is like, imagine you want to work out and you know, you want to go to the gym, but you know, you're not really feeling that. And you're like, I'm not a gym person or whatever. And kind of like the same thing, right? Well, just put on your work clothes, right? Your workout work clothes, and just sit on your bed. Just wear it for a little bit. And then the next day, do something more, right? Put on your work clothes. Now, maybe go and get inside your car. Don't even leave your house. Just get inside the car, right? And then the next day, do the same thing. Go inside your car. Maybe drive to the gym. Don't even go inside. Just stay, you know, in the parking lot. And then the next day, and so you're gonna go now to inside the gym. And then the next day, you lift a weight or whatever, right? And so again, you're building that momentum, right? Because exactly what you said. Oh, it wasn't that bad. You know, this is actually feeling okay. Now you've taken all of these little things and you compound them, right? And you've created a discipline and habit that you didn't think you have, because you didn't get overwhelmed with the whole idea, right? And so that's actually a good practice to do really in anything that we want to do in our lives.
Yep. I'll give you an example. My son has Asperger's, and for him to drive a car, as he was learning to drive a car, was no, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So my wife said, okay, first step, come and sit in the car with me. And that was the first step. He sat in the car, and they had a bit of a talk, and then they got out again. And the next day, sat in the car, turned it on, turned it off. The next day, it was turn it on, go forward, go back, turn it off, and get out. He's now an accomplished driver, but it broke it down into the smallness of a single step that enabled him to go, oh, well, if I can do that, I can do that. Wasn't so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us have this thought inside of our heads of, oh, but what if, or oh, it's going to be bad, or it's going to be hard. It's like, well, how do you know that? Based on what? Based on something that's happened in the past? Number one, it's in the past. You're not talking about what's happening right now. Or you're saying, oh, well, it happened to them. Well, that was them. That's not you. What is it that you want? You can overcome anything if you set your mind to it and have a go and not be hard on yourself.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And when we talk about that too, it reminds me, it just came from also from a self-development event that I coached there too. And one of the exercises that we were doing, which is I think is perfectly in line with what we're talking about right now, is again, one, we have this idea that whatever we haven't done in the past is difficult, it's hard, or who's gonna judge me? You have all these external things or fears that come into play. And one of the things that I tell people is that when you go through an exercise, for instance, I'll give you an example of the exercise that we did is people eating fire, right? I'm feeding fire into them, right? And so we're eating fire, and yet a lot of people have that fear of, can I put this torch that is lit in my mouth? How's it gonna taste? Am I gonna get burned? People are watching me. I'm nervous. I never done this. Like all these things come into play, the anxiety, the fear. And then when you actually go through it, even though you have that fear, and you have somebody like myself that's coaching you and training you, and I'm helping you, and I can get you to that finish line. Going back to what you talked about, don't do it by yourself. Have a coach, someone that can help you. When I get somebody to go to that finish line and they actually did it, and they realize, wow, I just did this. What I ask people is, the lesson here, or one of the lessons here, is ask yourself that you had fear, yet you didn't, and you came ahead and nothing happened to you. So the question you have to ask yourself is, where else in your life is this taking place where you are allowing external factors, what other people want to say to you, or the fear of whatever, get in the way of you accomplishing and or doing something, whether it's in business or in your own personal life. And so again, once we can recognize that the mind is so powerful, because it can either make you or break you. And when we realize that, and we recognize that at the end of the day, if I can be in tune with a discipline, I have this leadership, your easy steps, I love that. Like when we look at all these different things and we work on our mindset and we realize that, you know what, I know I can make this happen, even though I don't have all the data available. Everything can be possible. You can definitely overcome things in your life.
Yep. And sometimes it comes down to awareness. Sometimes you become aware of it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
What you and I are doing, Cesar, is surrounding ourselves with people that can give us feedback on, you realize that doesn't work for you. My wife, even yesterday, she said, watch your language. And I went, oh yeah, you're right. And I had some very inflammatory language going on, and I went, oh, that's really interesting, and I'm going to use that, because it's not about being perfect. It's about having a go. Now, you talked about fear. With fear, and again, you know this, but for everyone that's tuned in, it's a matter of FEAR, false expectation appearing real. So it's not necessarily true, it's false. But the opposite of fear in an acronym is face, everything, and rise. So false expectation appearing real, or face, everything, and rise. What's the worst thing that can happen? I could burn myself, or I'd learn from it, but what's the best thing that can happen? So what would happen if I was able to do my exercise program? What would happen if I was able to release that weight? What would happen if I asked that person to go out with me? What would happen if I started a business? So look at the awareness around it and go, the why on the easy model is that yes, and the internal focus of having the awareness of what's your mind saying to you. Is it positive or negative? Is it supporting you or actually hindering you? Because it's in that awareness, you then have the choice of doing something about it. Most people go through life not aware of those things that are holding them back. But by being in and around people, being in courses, being in seminars, being in workshops, having a coach, having a mentor, you're able to get feedback on, I never even realized that was possible. So I've got coaching that I do, and people come in for a month or they come in for 3 months. I've had some people with me now for 4 years,
Hmm.
and they are constantly getting awarenesses of the things that work for them, the things that don't work for them, so they can course correct. They can change what's going on in their life to create more of the results that they want for themselves.
I love that. No, that's huge. I definitely love that. And you definitely got to be able to plug into that. So tell me, so you're doing seminars, you're doing coaching. What kind of coaching are you doing? Is it male, female? Tell me a little bit about your coaching program.
Thanks. That's so nice of you to ask. The thing about my coaching is it's mainly for small business,
Okay.
and it is around the world. So I know your program as a podcast and
Hmm.
goes around the world. So
Yep.
based on that, it is for people in small business, and that can be solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, or a couple of staff. I do have the top end and I do corporate as well, but from a coaching perspective, it's small business. The majority, 60%, are female. So it's not a matter of I only do women or I only do men. So it's a balance in that regard. And it can be that you have been in your program now for, let's say, 6 months. I don't necessarily work with startups. There's a different lot of coaching goes into that. I have had it in the past, but it's more those people that have got some scores on the board. And just in the background here, you'll see, for those of you that got the video, I've got the 12 modules that I work with. So it's an audit. I look at systems, planning, marketing, sales, email and paperwork. I do customer service, productivity, self-care, leadership, discipline, and the last one is Kaizen, which is continuous
Japanese.
improvement.
Yep.
That's the 12 modules,
Hmm.
and in that is 100 videos. I do group coaching twice a week, so for an hour, Tuesday afternoon in Australia, East Coast, Tuesday afternoon, and then Thursday morning for an hour. So those people who can't make one, they can make the other. And then I do one-to-one coaching as well with the individuals. So
Hmm.
it's all around, what is it you want? What do you want to create?
Right.
And as a small business, how can I help you get there?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I definitely love the different modules that you have there. And that's really it really encompass a lot of different things that small businesses go through. What does ESI stands for?
The ESI was the EASY. So it was the old acronym of EASY,
Gotcha.
which is the
Yeah.
new acronym of EASY, external action, support, and the I was internal focus. But then I went, hold on, easy. Why don't I just make it easy? So
Yeah.
the Y became yes, and the subset of that is the internal focus. How do you have external action, support, and look at what you're saying to yourself? Are
Yeah.
you pushing yourself forward? Are you cutting your own legs off by what you're saying to yourself? What is it you're saying? Your mental aspect of your life has a huge impact on the results you create.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, that's awesome. Les, if people want to learn more about your programs or they want to just connect with you, where can they find you?
The website is getmoretime.com.au. Don't forget the AU, so it's Australian. So
Hmm.
.com.au, get more time, and also the creating success coaching.com.au, creating success coaching. I think I'll probably be able to give you one or the listeners and viewers the opportunity to download 25 time tips for busy people. So I'll
Mm,
put that in the show notes as well, and they
good.
can click on that and do a download. It's 25 time tips. It's a perfect way of encapsulating a lot of the stuff that I do in my coaching to go, there's something I can do. That's not hard. There's just practical tips. So you can do that. That's the 25 time tips, and I'll put those in the show notes as well. You just reach out on my website, send me a text, send me an email. I'd love to connect with you.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. I have a couple more questions for you, and definitely you've coached, you've been all over the place, you've been helping a lot of different businesses. So for the people that are watching us and or listening to us, if they're going through any challenge, whatever challenge that might be, what is one thing or a few things that they can do to start overcoming that challenge?
Just reach out to someone. It doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be Cesar. Just reach out. You are not alone. This is not a journey that needs to be done alone. So reach out to somebody, share what it is that you're going through. If you don't have anybody, reach out to someone that you go, hey, I need somebody. I need somebody. There's always someone, even if it's the person that you get your coffee from, that you get lunch from, that you get your groceries from. Actually, reach out to somebody. We shouldn't be doing this alone. So that's what I'm saying. Your independence is killing you. Don't do that. Actually, reach out to somebody. So reach out, share what it is that's going on for you. And that's why Caesar's saying, contact me. I'm saying, contact me, whatever it might be. So reach out. Don't do this alone. Use the support that's available to you. That's my suggestion.
I love that. I love that. Well, Les, I really appreciate you being here on the show and sharing this tips with us, and definitely looking forward to looking at your 25 tips too. And is there anything else you would like to share before I let you go?
As I said, leadership and discipline. Don't chase chase your pension, chase your passion.
Oh, I
Actually
love that.
allow the inner light that's inside of you to come out and be that person in the world, because there's only one of you and we need you. We need you in the world to make the difference that only you can make.
I love that. I love it. Les, thank you again for being here. Really appreciate all the words of wisdom you've shared with us today. So thank you again.
Thanks, Cesar. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye-bye. And for the rest of you guys, do me a favor, please make sure that you share this message, because definitely somebody needs to hear this. And I will see you guys at the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm CesarRespino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.CesarRespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.